Welcome back to the Padres franchise, everybody. I know that episodes have not really come out all that often here so far in the series. It's slowly became a series that I kind of just upload whenever I have the time to. I record episodes whenever I have the time to, but I've done some spring training on my own, and it's time to make some cuts and get this opening day roster set. The first move that we're going to make is Yu Darvish, the 39-year-old who has a couple of more years on his deal left. We are actually going to DFA Yu Darvish. He is going to have the opportunity to be picked up by another team. He just doesn't really have a spot on our roster anymore. Henry Baez will be sent down to AAA. Ryan Berger as well also did not have that great of a spring training. Same thing for Jackson Wolf. Adrian Morejon will also be sent down to AAA. Well, he can't, because if we try and move him, you see it says he has at least 5 years of service time and must consent to be an option to the minors. You will have to designate them for assignment. Well, in the meantime, Johnny Brito will get sent down to AAA, and then Austin Davis as well, I think, will get sent down. Jose Hernandez was a Rule 5 pickup. He will stay at the big league level, but Brian Hoeing will get sent down to AAA along with Stephen Kolek. Tom Cosgrove will also get sent down. Forrest Wall and Mason McCoy will both be sent down to AAA. And then Connor Joe will also get sent down to AAA. So now we need to figure out what we're going to do with Adrian Morejon and Colin Poche, because both of these guys are not making the big league roster. And unfortunately, we're in a position where we either have to trade them or hope that they clear through waivers. And with that being said, I am going to designate Morejon for assignment along with Colin Poche, and that will put us at 26 guys on the roster. We can go ahead and advance days, and it is time for opening day. And at this point, you just really have to hope that we don't lose the guys that are going through waivers. Well, I have set our 26-man roster here to begin season 2, as we'll be on the road to take on Justin Steele and the Chicago Cubs on opening day. So we will go ahead and get into the action here in season 2 of the Padres franchise. 69 wins a year ago was extremely disappointing, and we look to bounce back here in year 2. Here in Chicago at Wrigley Field for opening day, I would like to put out more episodes than I'm putting out, like I said at the beginning of the episode, but you know, it is what it is. Utah State continues to be my priority. I record these episodes whenever I have the opportunity. I just hope that we are able to have a better year here in season 2 than we did in season 1. I think that would make the series a little bit more enjoyable. As we'll be going quick counts today, as Luis Arraez leads off here against the Cubs on opening day. Arraez, one of the few bright spots on this offense a season ago, nearly a 300 hitter again in his career, as he works it to 3-1. Looking at his stats last year, 297 average, 8 home runs, a 767 OPS, and that was good enough for an even WAR. And that probably has to do with the 22 errors that he committed in the field. As Arraez will work a leadoff walk as he's aboard, and that will bring Xander Bogaerts to the plate, who was injured for the majority of season 2. He did play 103 games, so I guess it's not the majority. A pretty decent year at the plate. Over a 700 OPS. Just really has not really hit for power recently. 48 at-bats per home run is the lowest it's been since 2017. And in 2017, he hit only 10 home runs in 148 games. Here's the 1-2 from Justin Steele, and this one's going to be hit to second, and it's a double play. Nico Horner to Dansby Swanson, 4-6-3 double play for the Cubs. That'll bring Fernando Tatis Jr. to the plate. We hit 3 home runs with him in the regular season finale in season 1. 28 total home runs for Tatis last year, as he rips this one foul down the line, 108 off the bat. As you see, Manny Machado 30 home runs away from 400 in his career, as Tatis will chop this one to John Birdie, and it's a 1-2-3 inning for Justin Steele. Matt Waldron will get the start here on opening day, A 3.5 ERA last year, 1.4 whip, only a 16% strikeout rate. But I think he is the #1 pitcher on this roster entering Season 2 that can at least go and start on opening day. As this one will be pop foul. Tatis not going to be able to make a play on it, as the count is now 2-2 to the leadoff man, Nico Hoerner, as he's going to pop this one to shallow center. Bogart's there for the first out of Season 2. Tatis rushing in on this one, and he will get there in time to make the play. 1 pitch, 1 out from Matt Waldron. Seiya Suzuki 1-2 count. The pitch from Waldron, and it's a strike 3. Matt Waldron a 1-2-3 inning as we head to the second. Manny Machado set to lead off. Machado also with 28 home runs last season, but a .239 average. He looks to improve upon that as he faces the lefty Justin Steele and watches ball 2. 0 for 5 in his career against the lefty, as this one's going to be poked out to left field. Is it his first hit? It is not going to be. I thought there for a second it was actually going to drop. It did not, and that is going to bring up Eloy Jimenez, who we signed in the offseason. 67 overall, 29-year-old. Defensively is nothing special, but that's why we brought him in to be our DH. I think that a 3-year, $7.5 million deal to kind of see, hey, Eloy Jimenez, let's see what you got, is not a bad decision. As he's down in the count 1-2, pitch from Steele, and Jimenez will go down swinging at the sinker for out number 2. Luis Campusano, another guy who actually had a really good season last year. .245 average, 20 home runs, a .732 OPS, and his WAR was at 2.5. Didn't strike out that much. Would like to see him walk a little bit more, but overall a .302 on base is an improvement from what we've seen throughout his career, other than 2023 where he only played 49 games. 2-2 upcoming to Campusano, and he's going to watch the low fastball miss, and the count goes full. Here's the 3-2 from Justin Steele, and it's going to be high. Campusano works a 2-out walk. And that'll bring Jackson Merrill to the plate. Batting 7th, still trying to figure out where I want him to hit against lefties. His attributes aren't too bad, but they're not in a super great spot. 61 contact, 68 or 58 power as he watches ball 3. So Justin Steele kind of losing a little bit of control here as Merrill fouls away the sinker. Count full. Campusano will move on the pitch. Here is the 3-2, and Steele is going to get him on the slider. Merrill out in front, as that will take us to the bottom half of the second. And it's Gary Sanchez, who had a .300 average last year with 11 home runs. Even as old as he is getting, still putting up some pretty good seasons. As he's going to pop this one up in foul territory. A rise in front of the first base coach makes the play. Here's Ian Happ standing in now, batting 5th for the Cubs. I've always had problems with him in any MLB The Show franchise that I've done. Here is the pitch from Waldron, and it's going to be fouled away. So Ian Happ staying alive. The knuckleball gets Ian Happ for strikeout, and number 2 on the game, and out number 2 in the inning. Doing the quick counts, I'm seeing a lot of 1-1 counts to begin these at-bats, and that's a nasty pitch. Drew Gilbert, the second-year player, running in, and he makes the play. Another 1-2-3 inning for Matt Waldron. There's Jake Cronenworth standing in. Also, another really good season last year. 22 home runs, .272 average, an OPS sitting at .780, and a WAR at 3.7. An excellent year for Jake Cronenworth. He's 32 years old now, and I think he's still a very valuable player. Obviously, he does not hit lefties all that well, and that is why he's down here batting 8th against Justin Steele. We do have a lot of lefty bats in this lineup, and it's kind of what I want. I like having lefty bats, but it does suck when you have to face lefty pitching. The 3-2 to Cronenworth is back up the middle, and Hoerner's not going to be able to get there. The first base hit of the season for the Padres. Not hit very hard. They just weren't in a good position defensively to make the play, and now Drew Gilbert will stand in. I really like hitting with Drew Gilbert. I have a lot of fun doing it. As he goes down swinging on the slider from Justin Steele. And that'll bring up Luis Arraez now. Worked a leadoff walk to begin the season as he watches strike 2 at the knees. As this one's going to be hit to Birdie, to Horner to first, and a double play to get out of the inning. The second double play the Cubs have turned in today's game. Here's a nice rip down the line. Can Gilbert get there in time? He cannot. It's a fair ball. Going to second is Urias, and he's going ahead for third. A wild throw, and it's a triple for Ramon Urias. They may just rule out a double instead, as Dansby Swanson stands in. Dansby Swanson hitting all the way down here at 8th, as Tatis will run in, tries to get there. He does get there in time, and he's thrown to third. I hit the wrong button. He wouldn't have got him out anyway. The Cubs have a 1-0 lead, as PCA stands in for the Cubs. And this one is ripped back up the middle. Another hit for the Cubs. As this is going to be a nice hit and run opportunity, as the Cubs are on first and third now with only one out. You can still turn a double play here, as John Birdie stands in, rips this one foul. Here's the 1-2 from Waldron, and it misses the zone. Birdie is going to have another base hit, and the Cubs will take a 2-0 lead. The throw from Tatis is late. Cubs up 2-0. Runners still in the corner. And I think now it is time we start warming up Pivetta and Musgrove. Their role early on the season is going to be long relief. And we'll see if they ever work their way back into the starting rotation or we move on from them in other ways. Here's the pitch from Waldron, and he gets Suzuki swinging for the second out. I would like to see Waldron probably work into the 5th inning, ideally. You always want to see your starter go at least 5 if possible, as Gary Sanchez stands in. 1-2 count from Waldron, and he gets some look in. He does get out of the jam, but he gives up 2 runs in the bottom half of the third. Pete Crow Armstrong with a nice at-bat. I love the dynamic weather in MLB The Show. I wish that College Football 25 and Madden had the same kind of thing, because throughout this game it's been cloudy, it's been sunny. I just really like it, as Bogarts will go down looking at the fastball. Have to be more aware that there are 2 strikes on you. As Tatis stands in now. 0 for 1 on the young season, as he looks for hit number 1. As Tatis will drive this one to right field. This one's going to be extra bases, as Tatis is going to round second now. He's going for 3. It's a 1-out triple for the Friars. The Padres will now have a scoring threat on base, and it'll be Manny Machado standing in here. That's an excellent piece of hitting there by Tatis. Just go ahead and drive it the other way, as Machado stands in. 0 for 1 on the day. And Machado is going to drive this one to center field. It will at least score Tatis, as Pete Crow Armstrong catches it, throws it in, and Tatis is in safely. 2-1 to score now. That was also a really good hit from Machado. Just hard to get it out here in deep center field in Chicago. As Jimenez stands in now. Watches strike number 2. Now he's going to be forced to protect at the plate here, as he goes down swinging for the second time in the game. I would like to see Waldron go at least 2 more innings, if possible, as this one's driven to left. Gilbert there for the out. Here's the 1-2 from Waldron, and it's going to be below the zone for ball 2. Michael Bush, the first baseman here for the Cubs. And he's going to go down swinging at the knuckle. That's an excellent pitch from Waldron. And he's going to have to come out of the game. Not feeling right in the shoulder area. He was injured for a large portion of last season, and he's unfortunately got to leave. And we're going to bring in Joe Musgrove out of the bullpen. We could ask him to go the remainder of the game. Last year, he did not pitch. In 2024, though, he had a 3.88 ERA and a 1.1 whip. Was injured all of 2025 as he looks to bounce back in his career. And who knows, he may get the remainder of this game, as here's the full count. And he's going to walk Ramon Urias. Here's the 2-2 to Swanson, and he goes down looking. Musgrove will end the 4th. Justin Steele on the mound here, still for the Cubs. as he pitches ball 2 to Campusano, a former second-round pick in the 2017 MLB draft. As Campusano will poke this one to right center, and it will be caught out there and right for the first out. Jackson Merrill now standing in, 1-2 count, and he watches a close fastball miss for ball number 2. Ellie De La Cruz projected to have 68 stolen bases. We'll see if he actually gets that, as Merrill will hit this one a second. Horner there for the second out. Jake Cronenworth batting 1,000 so far this season, stands in the 1-1 from Steele, and he lays off. As Cronenworth, my fault, drives it to left for the final out of the top half of the 5th, as we'll head over to Joe Musgrove. Pete Crow Armstrong, 1 for 1 on the day, as he will foul away the fastball. This one popped up in foul territory. Campusano is there for the first out. Here's the 2-2 from Musgrove as Horner stands in and will pop this one to shallow center. Bogarts ranging over there and didn't make the play. I don't know what that was about. If anything, I feel like that should be counted as an error. As we pitch out, Campusano throws down, and he is drilled at second. An excellent timed pitch out from Joe Musgrove. And Nico Horner was out by a mile. Never had a chance as Cronenworth gets the tag. 2-2 from Musgrove, and in strike number 3, Birdie goes down swinging. We'll head to the 6th inning. Justin Steele still on the mound out there for the Cubs as Drew Gilbert stands in, as he will rip this one to left field, and Drew Gilbert with a base hit. I have a lot of fun hitting with this guy. I continue to mention it, but he's a lot of fun to hit with. We could definitely look to Steele in this situation. 1-1 count upcoming, as Gilbert will take off. Arise, watches, and Gilbert's out at second. Each catcher with a throw down to second on the money. Not a bad jump from Gilbert. Just a good play behind the plate by Gary Sanchez. As Arise will go down swinging. It's another strikeout for Justin Steele, his 6th of the game. Xander Bogaerts due up. Here's the 2-2 from Justin Steele, and Bogaerts will hit this one foul. A moonshot. Count goes full. Fernando Tatis on deck. Looking for an opportunity potentially with a man on, and he's going to get it. Bogaerts draws the 2-out walk. And Fernando Tatis will come into the game. A triple in his last at-bat. Can he make some magic happen? 2-2 count upcoming from Justin Steele. Bogaerts takes off. High pitch, and he is in there safely. A stolen base for Xander Bogaerts. I like the aggressiveness out of the Padres here. And now a full count upcoming to Fernando Tatis. And he's going to watch ball 4. Justin Steele maybe losing command now. The Cubs may look to take him out, and that's what they're going to do. An excellent opening day outing for Justin Steele, but they will go to the righty, Phil Bickford, as Manny Machado stands in with 2 runners on, 2 outs, and an opportunity to potentially give the Padres the lead. 2-2 count upcoming from Bickford, and it's outside for ball 3. Bases loaded. Runners will be on the move on the pitch. Here's the pitch from Bickford as Machado goes down swinging. Joe Musgrove still on the mound here for the Padres. As Suzuki hits this one to center field, Merrill will get back there and make the play. The ivy in Chicago a little bit dead. I wonder throughout the season if it gets more green. If it does, that's just another cool thing that MLB The Show does that I think like EA Sports could definitely learn from.
1 ball, 2 strikes.
Especially if you play on a grass field in the college football game or in Madden. Maybe throughout the season when it gets a little colder, maybe that field should look a little bit more dead. Virginia Tech, that's how their field looks by the end of the year. It is a little bit less green than it was at the beginning of the year, as that's going to be a strikeout for Joe Musgrove. 2 quick outs here in the 6th inning. Padres projected to finish 4th in the NL West.
1 ball,
17 games back from the Padres. We'll see how we finish. I don't think we have that great of a team, but at the same time, we could have some players who break out for us. I would love to see a guy like Joe Musgrove have a bounce back year as he gets the strikeout on Happ. As Musgrove working pretty good into this game here. Here's Eloy Jimenez with 2 strikeouts on the young season. As Phil Bickford will stay on the mound for the Cubs here in the 7th. As Jimenez hits this one down the line, foul. An excellent hit ball. Just a tad bit early on it. Here's the 1-2 from Bickford. Ooh, that was definitely a strike. Here's the 2-2 from Bickford now. As Jimenez will foul it away and stay alive. As that's going to be the 3rd strikeout for Eloy Jimenez. It's been a tough opening day for the free agent acquisition. As Campusano is going to reach after a hit by pitch. And the Cubs are going to make another move. They're going to go to another righty out of the pen. Or I guess a lefty, even though he motioned for a righty. It's Ryan Borucki coming out there to face Jackson Merrill. And it's a smart move, seeing as how we have 3 lefties in a row due up. Actually, it's 4 lefties in a row if you count Luis Arraez, who's leading off. As Merrill will go down swinging. Borucki has such a weird delivery. It kind of throws me off. And I don't think Cronenworth went. Third base umpire agrees with me. Yeah, Cronenworth, 42 contact versus left, 42 power. Those are not good numbers. As he's going to chop this one up the middle. And Horner's there to make the play. Joe Musgrove, 41 pitches out of the bullpen, will stay in the game here. As this one's hit to Bogarts and he can't make the play. Has not really looked good as a fielder out there. Here's the 1-2 from Musgrove, and this one's going to be chopped to Machado. On to Cronenworth. It is a double play. 5-4-3 double play. 2 out now in the 7th. And it's Dansby Swanson standing in now. Here's the 1-2 from Musgrove. And Swanson goes down swinging. Joe Musgrove has looked really good out of the bullpen. And they're going to go to another lefty here. It's Luke Little. As Drew Gilbert stands in. Hugging that line down at third is John Birdie. As that one misses, 3-1 the count for the lefty, Drew Gilbert. Here comes the full count from Little. As Gilbert will hit this one to center field. Good hitting, just didn't really have the power to muscle that one out. Here is Luis Arraez now, and that's a nasty sweeper by Luke Little. Who is this guy? 25-year-old Luke Little, a lefty who has played for a couple of years at the big leagues. A rough outing last year, but the pitching clutch is really good. The hit per 9, K per 9. The only thing is he may struggle with walks. And when you look at his stats from a season ago, 7.7 walks per 9 is really, really high. Not going to give up home runs. Not going to give up too many hits. And you're going to strike out a lot of guys. But you are going to give up a ton of walks. Here's the 1-2 from Little. And that one misses the zone. And now knowing that he struggles with that walk per 9, maybe it's a good idea to kind of lay off some pitches here. Make him throw strikes as Arraez will hit this one to right center. It's going to be extra bases for Luis Arraez. As he cruises into second with a 1-out double. 97-mile-per-hour fastball hit off the bat at 98. As Xander Bogaerts will stand in. They want us to go to a pinch runner here. I'm going to not do that right now. 2-1 to Xander Bogaerts, and that's an excellent pitch. 2-2 upcoming to Bogaerts. And that one misses the zone, full count. Fernando Tatis on deck. This is the 3rd batter that Luke Little has faced, though. As Bogaerts stays alive. If Luke Little could ever figure out how to not walk so many batters, he could be one of the best relievers in baseball, potentially. He's actually a player that I have a lot of interest in. As Little gets the strikeout. Just pounding the zone there. And it pays off. And the Cubs will make a move. Luke Little comes out. And they go to the righty, Porter Hodge. As the Cubs have just emptied their bullpen here on opening day. Tatis standing in. Watches ball 2. Full count to Tatis. And Hodge gets the strikeout. I tried to lay off of that one right there. That was just ugly. As Musgrove will stay in. Here to face Pete Crow Armstrong and then roll over to the top of the lineup As Armstrong's going to hit this one, Bogarts charges in for the first out. Warner will chop this one. He's got some speed. Bogarts charging in, gets the out. 2 quick outs for Joe Musgrove, who is playing really good right now out of the bullpen. Maybe his new role. You know, if he's a guy that we can ask to go out there and pitch 4 innings in relief, 5 innings in relief, and he does this well, I would have no problem keeping him in this role as long as he's not needed as a starter. He is getting tired, however, so this could be his last batter. Here is the 1-2, and he gets the strikeout on Birdie. We'll head to the top of the ninth where the Padres try to mount a comeback. It's Porter Hodge still on the mound now for the Cubs. Here's the 2-2 from Hodge. Machado goes down swinging at the splitter. As Eloy Jimenez stands in 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts here on opening day. As he gets strike number 2 on Jimenez. Count is full. Luis Campusano on deck for the Padres. Here is the 3-2 from Porter Hodge. And Jimenez will stay alive. Full count again. Pitch from Hodge. And Jimenez will work a walk. I'm going to have Tyler Wade come in and pinch run in this situation. I like to have the speed over there at first. We may even look to steal to try and get him into scoring position here. As they try to pick him off at first. Not in time. We'll see if they try to pitch out here. Taking a long look down there to first, and that's strike number 2. We are going to take off, and Campusano fouls away the sweeper. I'm going to look to also steal again here. This one, it looks like it could be. That's a late jump in the dirt, and Sanchez gets him at second. Just a very bad jump from Tyler Wade, and unfortunately, the Padres are now down to their final strike. As that's going to end this one, the Cubs are victorious on opening day. The offense went cold in today's game. I think the pitching, though, was really good for the Padres. Matt Waldron injured. We'll have to check on his status. But at the end of the day, only 4 total hits, and we struck out 13 times. Matt Waldron, 3 2/3, allowed 2 earned. And then Joe Musgrove only allowed 2 hits, 6 strikeouts, and 11 total for the Padres. Matt Waldron with some shoulder tightness. He'll be out for a couple of days. We'll go ahead and just keep him active. But one thing that really excited me here about Season 2 was the idea of us having a high draft pick. So Randy Vasquez on the mound here, and this one is 2-2, bases loaded. Luis Arraez will not be able to give us the victory. The Rays are interested in offering a trade. They are looking at Shane Baz for Joe Musgrove. Kind of a weird deal here. Musgrove on a large contract. They'd be willing to give us a guy who has a lot of potential. I'll keep that in mind, but I'm actually going to say no at the moment because that's just not a fair trade in my opinion. It wouldn't make sense that they'd be getting rid of a key piece in their rotation to bring in somebody to go in their rotation for that much more money. I'm going to decline that. We did hit the ball a lot better here in Game 2 as Arraez had 3 hits. No home runs, but Randy Vasquez did really good. And then it looks like late in the game, there might have been a couple of errors potentially. Again, the bases loaded. Game 5-5 in the 10th inning. And the Padres will win this one 10-6. 4 hits for Luis Arraez. 2 for Tatis, 2 for Cronenworth. A home run from Cronenworth and Campusano. And then Walker Buehler, and his first start as a Padre, gives up 5 earned. But Austin Gomber, with 7 2/3 out of the bullpen, that's an excellent job. Heading into a series against the 3-0 Texas Rangers. We lose the first game and then lose the second game. So dropping to 1-4 already on the season. A 5-for-5 day for Tyler Wade. As Eloy Jimenez and Manny Machado both with home runs. And Christian Scott somehow goes 5 1/3. Only allows the 1 earned, but allowed 10 hits. If you remember, Christian Scott was in that Dylan Cease trade. Brought him in as a reliever. Have now switched his position over to starting pitcher. And then in the second game here, Tyler Wade with 2 more hits. Drew Gilbert with 2 hits as well. But Campusano with 2 errors and Luis Arraez with an error. Matt Waldron gives up 3. Jeremiah Estrada gives up 2. Can we salvage the series by winning 1? No, we cannot. Tyler Wade with 3 more hits. Eloy Jimenez with a 3-hit day. Home run from Cronenworth as Randy Vasquez gives up 4, and then Nick Pivetta in relief gives up 2. Pivetta has been terrible. As we face the Athletics now, we win Game 1 and Game 2. And it's now time for scouting for the first time this season, as Jackson Merrill and Machado each with 2 hits. And then Walker Buehler with an excellent outing in his second go-around. And then in the next game, 2 hits for Arise and Bogarts. They each homer. And Austin Gomber, an excellent outing. Now starting, not being used in relief. So I have put down that our needs are starting pitcher, third base, and first base. And then now looking at the prospects here, for some reason it says that we don't have a draft pick, but I'm pretty sure we're picking third in this upcoming draft. And then the first thing that I'm noticing here is we do not have a generational prospect in this draft class. In order for you to have that, the number 1 MLB draft grade guy would be 18 or 19 years old. Mike Neal's a 22-year-old. He is not going to be that guy. Overall, though, Mike Neal does look like he could be really, really good, offering a 4-pitch mix. Andres Hernandez could be a little bit better than that, though, but only a 3-pitch mix for him, a 4-seam, 12-6, and a sweeper. Will Davis, I should say, is the number 1 position player that we have available to us. Looks to be a really good contact hitter. Power not really there all that much. Not really sure I'd be super interested in that archetype. Horace Pettinger, though, is an outfielder that I don't really think that we need. He's more of that contact hitter as well. So the first thing I'll do is I'm going to scout starting pitchers out of the international region. And then I will go ahead and scout Will Davis, the number 1 position player. And then we could go ahead and discover with our discovery scout. And we could go infield international region. And I think that's what we'll do here in week 1. As we do sweep the Athletics, so an excellent job to bounce back in this series. 3 hits for Xander Bogarts and a home run for him. Christian Scott, 6 innings, allowing 2 earned. And then Robert Suarez does give up 2 in relief, actually blowing a save. Playing against the Cubs again, but at home now, we've now ripped off 4 wins in a row. A home run for Tatis, 2 of them to be exact, and then Jimenez with a home run. Matt Waldron allows 3 in 5 2/3, but Estrada, Hernandez, and Matsui shut it down. But now I want to get an opportunity to get a player lock game in with our first draft pick from a season ago, and that is going to be right fielder Vance Davies. Off to a really good start, 308 average to begin at the AA level. Ethan Salas still down at the AA level, but Leo Dallas DeVries is now up at AAA. But I want to know from you guys, what do you guys think we should do in the draft? Should we address our rotation, or should we go after a position player? I think that I want to take the best available player. I don't really even care about the position. I want the best player available to us, and that's what I'll be going after. As it is Isaiah Lowe on the mound here for the San Antonio Missions, and here is Vance Davies wearing number 57. Reminds me a lot of a guy like Nick Castellanos. 19 years old, 73 overall, could see a big league debut really soon in his career. He is really good at the plate. The defense is actually not as bad as you would think it is. His fielding is low, but he's got a decent arm for being a 19-year-old, and he's got some speed. He does remind me a lot of Castellanos, and I think that'd be a fair comp early in his career. The vision at 70 for a 19-year-old prospect is really good as he watches first strike. Noah Cameron on the mound here for the opponent as he swings through the curveball. Vance Davies just needs to shave that beard, though. If you're not going to have a mustache to go along with it, you just look goofy. I don't think he really cares all that much, though. As Cameron will get the strikeout, kind of a generous strike 3 call from the whole plate umpire. Mission's up 1-0 here. Vance Davies is a 79 potential, I think. Or he might be actually an 81 potential, B potential guy. I think that's what it is, 81 potential. As he's down again, 0-2 in the count. As this one is behind him, just got to let it hit you next time. And the runner is nearly thrown out trying to go to third. As that's an excellent curveball from Noah Cameron. Second strikeout for him. As here is Davies' first opportunity in the field. Here's the pitch, and this is going to be caught. Might have had a chance to get him out at first. Noah Cameron still on the mound, unfortunately. That curveball has been devastating. As that's a better pitch to hit. 2 doubles on the season for Vance Davies. 71 contact, 60 power against lefty pitching, and I think that's really good. The changeup, the curveball, Noah Cameron he's a difficult pitcher to hit right now. As Davies will pop this one to right field. At least he didn't strike out. How about a little first-person action here with Davies, as he has to retreat on this one. Can he get there? No, he's not going to be able to. He does get us in. It's a pretty decent relay. And they got him at third. No, they don't. They're saying he was in there safely. As we go bottom 8, a new pitcher on the mound finally. Davies not as powerful here against right-handed pitching. Contact still in a decent spot, though, at 65. And now I'm just kind of swinging away at anything. As this one chopped foul. That's a good pitch to hit right there. As we've seen 3 fastballs from Patrick Ricks. I think Davies might have a little ways to go before we see an MLB debut. The bat doesn't really have a lot of pop. And that's going to be a hit by pitch. We will see Davies at least reach. And we're, of course, going to try and steal. Here is Davies on the move, pitching the dirt, and he's going to have a stand-up stolen base. His 3rd already this season. Should we try for 3rd on the young catcher? Here is a hit down the line, and Davies is in there. He's going to try and score here. The throw offline, and the Missions now have a 3-2 lead. Lucas Dunn with the RBI. Heck, if we didn't take off right there, I think that the third baseman would have been in a good position to make the play. As we will enter the game here. Let's get out of this first-person mode. It's just kind of difficult. Northwest Arkansas looking for a chance to try and take the lead, and it's hit to the first baseman, and the Missions win. Vance Davies, we got to see the speed on display. The bat is still a little ways away. So back up to the big league level. We've won now 4 games in a row, and we do drop this one. Brady Singer for Eggy Rosario is honestly a interesting trade offer here. Eggy Rosario we put on the trade block. Singer struggled last year with the Reds. These are trades that I'll have to keep in mind. At the moment, I am going to say no, though. As Walker Buehler's on the mound, as we try to come away with a series victory, and we're not going to be able to do so. We drop this one 2-10. Home run for Luis Campusano. Buehler struggling. Nick Pivetta. And then Yuki Matsui doesn't even get an out. Heading to Boston now for a series, and Jason Adam is trying to get around a bases-loaded jam, and he does so. Next game now, Padres up 2-1. Campusano with a 10-game hitting streak. Padres win that one as well. In that first game, 11 hits. Manny Machado with a home run. Austin Gomber, a pretty solid outing. And in the second game, we won this one 3-1. 2 hits for Machado again. And Christian Scott gives us a pretty solid outing. As we have wrapped up the scouting profile on Will Davis. And he looks really, really solid. I think if he's available, he's going to be a player that's hard to pass up on. Not going to have a ton of pop in his bat. He's more of a contact hitter, but he looks to potentially be like a Luis Arraez a replacement. I think Will Davis would be a really solid option to have. As far as Ray Polito here, a 20-year-old starting pitcher from Puerto Rico, he's obviously going to be an option to potentially take. And then Andres Hernandez actually goes down a little bit on the board. So I would say so far of these guys that we're scouting, I would say that Ray Polito from Puerto Rico would be the number 1 guy I would look at. With a 4-seam sweeper, changeup, cutter mix. I like that mix right there. Has excellent control. The home runs per 9 is going to be a weakness potentially, and the hits per 9 as well. I think he'd be a very well-rounded pitcher. We'll just have to continue scouting him. As far as discovery here, we did discover Eddie Cabrera, a second baseman. Looking for a little bit more power than that. And then we also discovered a couple of shortstops here. Miguel Leon doesn't look all that great. We will continue to try and discover infield international prospects, and then we'll continue to do the starting pitchers from the international. But we will change out here Will Davis. And I think I'm going to scout Val Pinto. It's going to be a little bit longer to be able to fully get his scouting profile done, but he is one of the top offensive prospects in this upcoming draft. So we'll just have to figure out if he's going to be as good as he's advertised. As we move into the finale with the Red Sox, and we do drop that game 2-8. Connor Joe, torn calf, will be out for 60 days at least. Dropped the first game against the Mets. We do win the second game, though, 14-4. 4 hits for Merrill. Everybody with a hit in the lineup, pretty much. Campusano, Machado, and Tatis with home runs. Walker Buehler, good outing. Ron Marinaccio gives up 2, and then Yuki Matsui, not a bad job for him. Here's Sean Manaea versus Austin Gomber, and it's a 10-6 victory for the Padres now. Everybody except for Drew Gilbert with a hit in this game. And then Austin Gomber, an excellent outing as we look to try and win the series here against the Mets, and we drop it 2-5. I'm not going to say yes to this trade. Now they're just asking for Nick Pivetta. As we head to Houston now for a series against the Astros, Matt Waldron with a shutout going late, and we do win this one 2-1 as Randy Vasquez takes on Hayden Wesneski, and we drop this one 1-2. So some low scoring games now. As we go back to scouting now, here is Val Pinto. The hitting looks really, really well-rounded. I am going to finish up this profile. And then Ray Pulido looks every bit as advertised here. Jason Ono from Japan. I don't like how low his hits per 9 is, and I don't like a 3-pitch mix. Alexis Taveras here, an 18-year-old starting pitcher. I like the strikeouts per 9. I like the walks per 9. The velocity looks really good as well. I like Alexis Taveras. We did discover one more international region infielder, and that's David Park. Doesn't look too bad, but not really intrigued with him all that much. We will change this one, though, and we will discover outfielders from the international region now. Drew Gilbert struggling a little bit to begin the season with a .213 average. So I'm going to get a player lock game in with him as we try to move to 500 with a victory against the Astros here. Yordan Alvarez still playing here in Houston. The Astros still have a really good team overall. The bottom part of their lineup is a little weaker, but still overall not a bad squad. As we are on the road here with an opportunity to try and win this as we look at the league news here and the farm report. Our number 1 prospect is Bill Frydenberg. He's down at single A at the moment. Leo Dallas DeVries is our number 2 prospect, has a .235 average so far. And then Ethan Salas with a .304 average. 2 home runs in double A. He might be getting a call up here soon, along with Vance Davies potentially. As it is Jose Altuve to the plate now. Walker Buehler on the mound. I feel like Buehler hasn't really had the greatest start as Gilbert will have to move back to the wall here, and it's off the wall. As Altuve's going for 2, and he's out. Excellent relay, as that's excellent fielding by Drew Gilbert. Jimenez with a 2-run shot after Isaac Paredes had a 2-run shot. The game tied. Hunter Brown on the mound. And it's really hard to see the ball right now. That white cloud in center field right above the batter's eye makes it pretty difficult to see the ball. As Gilbert will stay alive. Been some pretty decent pitches to hit here so far from Hunter Brown. Here's the 1-2 up coming from Brown, and it's inside for ball 2. And he's now worked the count full. Here's a 3-2 upcoming. Campusano on deck with 3 home runs on the season so far. And Gilbert goes down swinging. It's been a pitching duel in both games so far in the series. This one, a little bit more offense to start. And this one's hit pretty well, and it's going to be off the wall. And it's Altuve again. This time we're not going to be able to get him. Walker Buehler unable to, pitch anything effective to Altuve, but he gets out of the jam, though, after a leadoff double. 2-2 still to score in the 5th inning now. And it's a little bit easier to now see the ball. Gilbert 2 for 3 with a home run in the last game. And down in the count again here against Hunter Brown. 1-2 upcoming. And this one is going to be chopped to second. That's an excellent pitch to hit. You're probably not going to get a better pitch to hit than that. As Luis Arraez, though, with a 2 RBI double, gives the Padres a 4-2 lead. And it's Luis Garcia on the mound now for the Astros. Drew Gilbert behind in the count again. It's kind of been the trend so far in this game. Could afford to probably lay off the first 2 pitches and maybe see if they're ruled a ball. Here's the 1-2, and Gilbert stays alive, fouling away the sinker. Here's the 1-2 from Luis Garcia, and Gilbert hits it hard but foul. Here's the 1-2 again from Garcia, and this one misses. Count even at 2 apiece now. And this one is also going to miss the zone. See, if I would have laid off that first pitch, it probably would have been called a ball. Here's the full count upcoming from Luis Garcia. And Gilbert hits this one decent to right center field, but it will be run down. An 0 for 3 day for Drew Gilbert. Ron Marinaccio on the mound now for the Padres as Hunter Renfroe stands in. Runner on first. This one will be ripped down the line. 2 on, nobody out now for the Astros. And we are up 6-2 now. Bogarts with an RBI double and Tatis with a solo shot. The pitching has done a good job at getting out of these jams. Can Gilbert get a hit in today's game? Down in the count again, 0-2. These are both strikes that have been thrown from Adon. It's just unfortunate that Gilbert continues to fall behind in these counts and has to try and work back into them to get a pitch to hit. Here's the pitch, and it's going to miss.
2-2.
Count even. Gilbert doing a good job at working his way back into these counts, though. Here's the 2-2. And Gilbert stays alive. And it's going to be a full count now for Drew Gilbert, who's seen a lot of pitches in this game. Here's the pitch from Adon, and Gilbert fouls it away. We'll see it again. Here's the pitch. Gilbert staying alive out there. Pitch number 9 upcoming here to Drew Gilbert. And it's going to miss. Gilbert draws the walk. Here's Jackson Merrill standing in. He's leadoff now for this lineup. I don't know if the CPU changed my lineup around or not, but he is batting leadoff. As this one's going to be hit on the ground, and it's going to end the inning. As we go bottom 9 now, the Padres looking for a chance to win it and the series, and they're going to do just that. Walker Buehler with an excellent outing. Now in a 4-game series here against the Reds, 4-3 the score. Arise, and we're down by 1, and the Reds are going to win game 1. Now bottom 8 with 2 outs, and it's Arise with another opportunity. We do win this one. We lose the 3rd game, and now with a chance to win game 4, it's Hunter Green on the mound for the Reds. Top 9 with 1 out. Let's simulate to the end of it. We do win it 5-4. In the finale, 3 hits for Fernando Tatis, 10 as a team. As Drew Gilbert goes yard, Randy Vasquez with a decent outing. As we'll now head into a series against the Mariners. Jose Hernandez with a minor injury. We do win this one 8-5. 3 hits for Jake Cronenworth. Merrill and Machado with home runs. The bullpen did a good job other than Jose Hernandez. Austin Gomber on the mound for this one. Bottom 9, 2 outs. Tyler Wade at the plate. Let's get this game in right here. And then after this, we will call it pretty much quits with the games. We're a very mid team at the moment. 12th in runs, 15th in runs allowed. We'll look at the stats here in a second. The Mariners 5th in runs and 1st in runs allowed. One of the best pitching teams in baseball, it would appear. As it's Tyler Wade. Is that who we want hitting in this situation? I think I would rather go to Jackson Merrill in this situation. It's Andres Munoz on the mound. 2 on, 2 outs. Pitch inside for ball 1. Merrill has struggled so far to begin this season. .237 average. OPS below 700. As he watches ball 2. Also, a .107 average with runners in scoring position so far on the year for Merrill. As he rolls this one over. You've got to be kidding me. The Mariners are going to win it. That's a terrible piece of hitting right there. Austin Gomber went 4 2/3, allowed 5. Luis Arise with 3 hits, and Eloy Jimenez with a home run. The Red Sox are interested in offering a trade. Garrett Whitlock for Joe Musgrove. Yeah, I don't know about that. We'll have to see how these guys are performing here. But we'll advance to the next day. We can look at scouting again. And Val Pinto looks like one of the best hitting prospects here in this upcoming draft. Would more than likely be an 80 potential guy at 18 years old. He is an option, but I don't think he would be the guy I would decide to take. Ray Polito is a very well-rounded starting pitcher, but Jason Ono looks really good here. But I think Alexis Taveras is my number one pitcher at the moment. 18 years old from Cuba. I like the strikeouts per 9. I like the walks per 9. The velocity and break is also really good. He definitely intrigues me. Alexis Taveras definitely intrigues me. We'll continue to look at these international pitchers here. Or I guess at this point, it wouldn't be a bad idea to potentially maybe move on for a second. Or maybe we could also just, because you obviously got a guy like Mike Neal from Nebraska who we definitely need to get a look at. And then Rob Raymond is another guy. Honestly, there's not a whole lot of, there are some central guys here. For the benefit of trying to figure out who our number one draft pick is going to be, I think it'd be beneficial if we go ahead and just take Mike Neal and look at him individually. We did discover some outfielders though. The first one is Benito Baez, and then the next one is Felix Rosales. Rosales looks pretty decent contact-wise and speed-wise, but the power, it looks extremely weak. So I think now what I'll do is I'm going to edit this, and I'm going to go starting pitchers in the Central region. We'll do something like that. Yeah, I'm not really blown away by these prospects, as I about fell on my chair, and that's what that noise was if you guys were like, what just happened? Yeah, I'm not blown away by these position player prospects. Elijah Webster here at third base is maybe something to, somebody to think about here. I think right here you got a 21-year-old in Solomon Emery, 6'3", 196. Power doesn't look all that great. Defense doesn't look all that great. Maybe Solomon Emery is somebody that we could potentially take a look at. I wish I could see exactly what my draft picks are here, because certainly we have a draft pick. If we don't, then I would crash out. You also have Bernardo Feliciano here, a very tall second baseman with decent hitting stats here. At 18 years old, could be a pretty good prospect, but I think my number one guy so far is definitely Will Davis. I like what I see from a guy like Will Davis. If he's available at our draft selection, he would certainly be my selection. I think it would benefit me if we take a look at Horace Pettinger. 22 years old. He's a top guy. I think that's who I'm going to look at, along with Mike Neal, and then we'll try and discover some pitchers out of the Central region. Looking at the stats so far in the season, Randy Vasquez, a 4.6 ERA, has not gotten a win on the year. His whip is actually in a decent spot, though, with a 1.15 whip. That would indicate maybe he's just getting a little lucky, but his FIP doesn't really indicate that. A 4.76 FIP. Looking at his recent games here, he's given up home runs in his last 4 starts. Walker Buehler has not been good here, but he is 4-1 as a starter, so that just shows how different things can be. But Buehler has not been good so far. 5.79 ERA, 1.79 whip, a WAR at 0.1. He's struggling giving up walks here. Strikeout numbers in a decent spot. Randy Vasquez, I want to look at what he's given up here as far as walks. He's just not really striking a whole lot of batters out, but it's the home runs per 9, I think, with Randy Vasquez. Austin Gomber has been really good, though. The 32-year-old lefty has a 3.0 ERA, 1.17 whip. Somehow he's got a negative WAR. Like, that's stuff that just doesn't make sense to me, and it's probably because of the home run per 9. He has given up a lot of home runs, and the FIP maybe indicates that he's getting lucky at the moment. Christian Scott has been really good as well for us. As you see, he's got a little bit of rating progression here. 2.6 ERA, 1.34 whip, a WAR at 0.5. K per 9, not too great. The walk per 9, a little high, but he's not giving up home runs. The FIP at 3.6. Christian Scott's been good. And then Matt Waldron has kind of struggled so far this season. The whip kind of low, though. Giving up home runs, I think, is what his issue is at the moment. Not walking a whole lot of batters, which is good. Nick Pivetta out of the bullpen. Yeah, I just don't really like Nick Pivetta. I think that if possible, I would love to try and trade this guy. I just don't know who's going to take on the contract that he has, and he's 33 years old as well. Joe Musgrove has been really good, though, out of the bullpen. I think that we've found the role that Joe Musgrove is going to play. He has only played in 4 games, but he's been a long relief pitcher that has come in and pitched 3 or more innings in every outing that he has had. So he has done an excellent job out of the bullpen. A 0.6 WAR player, K per 9 in a really good spot. Yeah, he's been one of our best pitchers so far. Jeremiah Estrada as well has been really good. Yuki Matsui with a high whip but a low ERA. Ron Marinaccio, kind of an interesting season so far for him. He's a negative WAR player. I think that his biggest problem is he's just not a high strikeout guy. Jose Hernandez has struggled as well. Remember, a Rule 5 pickup. Could we potentially look at moving on from him if he continues to struggle? Jason Adams been good in 17 1/3. And then Robert Suarez has been pretty decent as well. I'm going to look at the minor leagues and see if there's any notable things to look at. Jackson Wolf has been really good in 32 1/3 innings out there, starting at the AAA level. A whip under 1, an ERA at 1.3, a WAR at 1.2. He has been really, really good, getting 7 strikeouts in his last 5 outings. And Yu Darvish has also played pretty decent at AAA. Somehow he made it through waivers. And we have how many relievers at AAA? Okay, I was about to say, why do we have no long relief pitchers though? Weird, these guys just must not have been pitching, which, sorry to guys like Brian Hoeing and Steven Kolick and Henry Baez, they've had to pitch a whole bunch of innings. Now Austin Davis and Morejon and Poche can finally get out there. All right, looking at the lineup now. Jackson Merrill with a 235 average has had a cold start to the season. Luis Arraez, though, has not. 294 average is really good. We'll move him up in the order then. Fernando Tatis, excellent start. And then Manny Machado hitting for power, the average a little low, though. Jake Cronenworth, a 237 average with 3 home runs. And then Eloy Jimenez, 250 average with 4 home runs. I think we're going to see some progression out of him. And then Xander Bogaerts, 296 average, 2 home runs. He'll take over that spot from Jackson Merrill here. Drew Gilbert, 3 home runs. He's hitting for a little bit of power here. The average just low. I think we move him down as well. And Campusano will probably move up in the order with a 284 average. I like what I'm seeing there. Max Muncy off the bench, only 3 at-bats. Tyler Wade, though, off the bench has been really, really good for us. I've actually been shocked to see how well he's played. And then Brandon Valenzuela is your backup catcher. Just going to check the left-handed lineup here, make sure everything looks good for this. And I think I actually like the way that the lineup looks here. We do have a lot of lefties at the bottom, though. It's 4 in a row at one point. At the AA level, we'll see if there's anybody that's intriguing. How about Giancarlo Machado, a C potential shortstop, putting together a decent start to the campaign. But Ethan Salas has been the best player, and I think he's knocking on the doorstep to a promotion to the AAA level. 338 average, 2 home runs. And Advanced Davies as well, maybe on his way up to the AAA level. The fielding starting to go up already, so that's really good to see. Yendry Rojas as well. I mean, who's to say he can't come up and be, that third baseman replacement here in the future? Actually been kind of impressed with that. And then at the AAA level, Leo Dallas DeVries so far, average in a decent spot. Not hitting for a ton of power, though. Yeah, overall, though, I think 14-14. I don't think we were kind of projected to be in the position that we're in at the moment. When you look at the wild card, we're half a game back. We'll see what the future holds. We could definitely fall off, but at 14-14, we're not out of contention of what we want to be at right now so far. But that's going to do it for this episode. If you guys enjoyed it, if you did, leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. See ya.